Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Oh, this one we're going to let the song play for a second!
Yes. Perfect intro. Perfect intro.
Best part of the show.
That was pretty hilarious.
Here we go. Hey guys, we're here, Bad Judge recap, AfterBuzzers, welcome. I'm your host, Stef Z, and tonight I've got the lovely.
What's up, guys? I'm Erica Davis.
Hey everyone, it's Stacy Ike. What's up?
Oh, here we are, Bad Judge, the second episode. What'd you guys think?
I think it was definitely better than last week's episode. After seeing last week's episode, I really tried to keep a positive attitude about the next episodes.
Right.
And thankfully I did, because it was at least 10 times better than week when I actually smiled and laughed just a little bit.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of Gary. Now I'm for sure a huge fan. Last week I was a fan of him, but now I'm like, all right, he stepped up a little bit. He's got a little bit of ground under him. I'm cool with him. So I was happy with him, and I didn't get to see my favorite little kid. Theodore.
Oh, Robbie.
I didn't get to see Theodore. Yeah, Robbie in real life. I didn't get to see him this episode. I was a little bit sad about that. But,
Right. Well, hopefully he'll come back in.
sure.
We all loved him so
We
much.
did.
sure.
I've been reading the reviews and the blogs throughout the week after we shot our show, and I mean, this seems to be the consensus that everyone loves Robbie.
Right.
So, I mean,
That kid's got a career.
Yeah.
If it's not on this show somewhere, he's
seriously.
landed.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
note to producers out there, like keep Robbie,
Yeah.
keep Robbie in
Yeah.
the show, because he definitely carried episode 1.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, I feel like it's a little bit of the same. I definitely agree that it's a better episode. It's got potential. The legs are learning how to walk.
Yeah.
There was some things, again, that are just a little bit too much.
Again, like, to me, the episode started off being a little bit too forced when she got out of the car and the guy was behind her, and she took the axe off the fireman's truck and like axed the guy's car.
Right, but it was so funny to me because I don't know if you guys saw, but a while ago there was a video going around on Facebook or YouTube or something of an old lady, like kind of the same situation, and she gets up out of the wheelchair and takes her purse and like whacks the car.
Okay.
So for
So
me,
they
it
literally
brought
took a
back.
modern-
I feel like
okay.
they took something that was happening,
Yeah.
and again, we see that with the case. It's clearly like a Lindsay Lohan type
Right.
Yeah.
reference.
Right.
So I feel like again the whole current thing, they're trying to keep current with things that are actually funny, but
Sure.
yeah, taking it to the extreme where you would take. No fireman is going to give you the axe and let you
Seriously.
go puncture
It's
a
true, but I
tire.
think with shows like this, there's certain shows you look at and you're like, okay, this is straight realism. I'm going to get out of a real life situation. And there's other shows you watch for pure entertainment. And I think
True.
that scene for me was pure entertainment. I didn't think, no, real fireman, duh. Like, no, definitely not. But I think the firemen they chose, the eye candy, the way they set up the scene, I'm thinking, okay, just comedy, just for entertainment. I'll take it as it is.
So I guess we just have to get to the point where we just resolve that this show is more fiction than it is
For
fact.
sure, for
However,
sure.
I read a really interesting thing over the week. People were saying, oh, you would be really, really surprised to see how many judges are really bad judges. And a lot of judges have, problems with, substance abuse and promiscuity. So a lot of people have been saying that this is more, true to real life than we
Interesting.
believe. Yeah.
But who knows? But I feel like that is. I feel like what you guys bring up are really good points. It's like they haven't really committed one way or the other. They haven't committed to just be the bizarre, like the axe is okay, her sending everyone to jail is okay. Like they haven't committed to it being that outrageous all around, because there are, again, some things that always lie true. And even with the first episode, like her parenting with his name's blanking again, the kid's
Robbie,
name.
Robbie.
Like there was like the bullying message like in there. And again, here there's the message of the paparazzi being responsible for getting this girl in court. So there's always this like kind of subliminal
Yeah.
good
It's very
message.
blurred, yeah.
That's true.
But again, I feel like, and maybe they're just figuring out where to teeter on that line.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with you. I think they probably can't commit because
I was gonna say the same thing.
I don't think they can commit.
Because then we won't be interested.
Yeah, we really won't be interested if they commit. And I think that they're trying to find humor in the completely outrageous.
So you think they can't commit because they don't know yet, or you think they can't commit ever?
Well, okay, so maybe you guys don't know, but probably know that the showrunner quit about 3 or 4 weeks into the show. So just that alone makes me know that there's a little bit of trouble in paradise. So if the showrunner has quit that soon into the production, then I'm sure there are other problems that are trickling down to the storyline.
She was let go, though.
Oh, she was let go.
That's what I heard. I mean, I need to verify my fact, but I definitely saw an article that it seemed more like she was pushed out versus she just left.
But for creative differences, right?
Yes, which could mean
a politically correct way to say.
Somebody wasn't coming correct. Somebody wasn't meshing well because it could be her, it could be them. You really never know.
So I brought that up to, I guess, drive the point home that maybe they can't really commit to any one strong stance, whether it's going to be completely outrageous or if it's going to be, mostly factual, mostly believable. I don't know. You guys know how I feel about the show.
Yeah, it's not your favorite show ever. But I think in the whole committing thing, as much as I'm like, yeah, they need to commit, or they just need to commit that it's going to be both.
Yeah.
There's still some things to me, and this is just my opinion, there's still some things to me that it's like if you're going to go there, go there. Or if you're not...
What would that look like for you? Because I don't know, for me, I think... I agree with both of you, actually. In one case, I don't feel like they could commit all the way, but sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, clarify this, like too cheesy, whatever. But like I said, I mean, you guys have called me before the optimist. Some of that stuff works for me because I like that slap humor that it's just like, whatever. Obviously, it's not real, but it's funny and they, so what would that look like for me?
And maybe I'll this will change for me or morph or whatever, but I think for me, when she's in the courtroom, it should be a little bit less crazy.
I agree with that.
Okay. I'm okay with like the pop brownies and I'm okay with all that stuff because then it's more of like, wow, this really and it could still be really funny, but then it goes to the fact that you were stating earlier that this maybe is like how judges are, because as much as there's truth to that this is probably how judges are, no judge, number one, is going to have paparazzi taking pictures in the court. Like I know sometimes they're allowed, like with the Lindsay Lohan thing, they were allowed to film in there.
Yeah.
But she's not going to send all the paparazzi to jail or say $10,000 fine for the pout face. So, but everywhere else, the over the topness, I think works.
I agree with you.
I agree with that too.
Maybe we've been so preconditioned to like watching the NCISs, like where you see these courtroom dramas, and the courtroom is so believable. And maybe even though this is a comedy, we're still expecting to see like the Scandal type or How to Get Away with Murder type courtroom situation.
Maybe.
That's cool.
It is a different. It's breaking a mold.
It's definitely breaking a mold. Although it's very similar to the show like in the 90s, Night Court. You remember like Night Court was very, very wacky, very
funny.
zany. But again, like
I didn't even think of that. That's such a good comparison.
But Night Court was just kind of zany. I don't know. Like maybe I'm just longing for a time in my life where I thought all television shows were good. I thought Night Court was excellent. I think that I think Bad Judge, like you said, they need to be more realistic in the courtroom.
And Night Court was good, but I'm sure the first 2, 3, 4 episodes in Night Court, everyone was like, what's this?
What's going on? Yeah, they probably didn't see it the way that, they're probably judging it just like we are now. They probably have their different notions about what it should look like and everything. But I definitely can take that notion, and I hope they run with that because you're right. I think the courtroom is what is the difference between...
And again, too, like, what judge is going to show up for work and the paparazzi are out there and she's going to flip them off?
Yeah.
Like, to me...
Like, the thing is, you can be the bad judge, but the reason that it's cool is because people are like, ooh, I know the secrets of the bad judge. Not that we're seeing it so
that would
we need to see her house version of Bad Judge.
I think so, too.
And her office version, where her and her officer, Tedwell, they mesh and they expose it between each other. But in the courtroom, there's a certain swag she's got to put on. You just have to.
And she does to some extent. But
a very, very small extent, though.
Right, but like, that's what I'm saying. If they figure that out, and again, this is just my opinion, but if they figure that out, like how she's like, if your cell phone rings, the pouty face, like her putting the Brianna girl, whoever, in her place as a judge, you know what I mean? Like her putting her in her place is that sass and that swag that I think we all are agreeing that we like. It's just mushy stuff.
And for me, I think it takes away from the mystique of the show for her to be so out there with everyone. Like, everyone knows that she's promiscuous. Everyone knows that she's a pothead.
Right.
Everyone knows that she's, like, has substance abuse problems. Like, it's like, well, what's going to be the surprise? Like, what do we have to look forward to, like, as far as everyone else, and not the audience, but the people in the court and the people, like, in the community? What do we have for them to look forward to? Like, everyone knows she's a wreck. Like you said, getting out of the van, like, flipping off the paparazzi.
It's like now all of them know too.
Yeah.
Like that scene could have been just as funny if she got caught like changing in her van or something. Yeah, like it would have gotten the same point.
Yeah.
But to do that was just, and even more so than the acts. You know what I mean? Like, that could have, she been like, this guy was honking at me. Like, there was an excuse for that. Like, I feel like the flipping off the van, the paparazzi was just it was a reach for me.
Sure. Okay. I can definitely take that.
I mean, and I get that it was funny, and then it was on their style of TMZ and the muffin top and all that, which is kind of funny.
The muffin top, just like you said, could have happened if she was changing in her car.
Yeah.
Right.
That could have been actually a little bit funnier.
And it would have pertained more, because you would have seen her changing and then, like, her cover up or something.
Yeah.
Or be like, look at me, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we would have been in the space of thinking about what she looks like, rather than her gesture to the camera and them going somewhere else with what the picture was.
Sure.
What do you guys think about her taking the cute firefighter home? Was that, I don't know, was that consistent with what they've been doing so far, or was it just?
I feel like it's the rebound.
Okay.
I feel like I was expecting it. I was waiting for the time in the episode where it was going to happen. I mean, it would be, if she decided to totally ignore him and go on a real date, I would have been like, oh my gosh, where's the show going? So,
well, but I feel
what
like
that
if
means.
Gary wouldn't have bailed on her, that might not have happened.
True,
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel
true.
like that. The whole Gary bailing on her, which is great. Again, we love Gary's character.
And we made that prediction last week about
did.
Gary perhaps falling in love. Now, granted, it's too early to say that he fell in
Right.
love with someone, but he's actually pursuing other
And he's
interests.
sticking up for himself. He's like, don't invite me to do something 8 hours before and then get pissed if I say no. You can't commit to a plan, then too bad.
That's right.
Which, I mean, I totally agree with his stance there. But once he says no to that, then she says yes to the fireman, who, like, we totally see is dumb as a bag of rocks.
Exactly.
You know, like, come on. Which was kind
And
of...
his chili. That's pretty much all we heard.
And his one book.
Yeah.
And his one book.
So funny.
I think another problem, I guess, for lack of a better word, is that I don't know if does she own up to her badness, in her position? Because, for example, like, she slept with this guy, the firefighter, had the one night stand, she, ate the pot brownies, called 911, didn't really want to admit to Tedward that she had the one night stand, but then finally did. They kind of dapped each other up. So it's like, is she owning up to it? Does she love that she's a bad judge, or is she embarrassed by it? Like, I can't quite.
I don't think she's ready to own up to it.
I don't think it's time. She shouldn't own up in second episode. She owns up, we're done. You know
right.
what I mean? Like,
Right.
I need her to continue to experience it, understand it, let people call her out about it. Like, I'm waiting for Tedwell to call her out or give her, like, a nice pep talk, we kind of saw a little bit of it
at the
in
end.
this episode in the end, where he was there for her and was like, look, let's go ahead and get rid of the car, let's have a moment, whatever. But I don't think I think she understands her actions, but they're not hurting anyone but her, so she doesn't care.
Right.
That's,
Yeah, and I think that's part of, like, what we're talking about a little bit last week, of her layers and why she's that mess. And like, I feel like they can't expose, like, they're starting a little bit
With the van, they told us a little bit of the story with the van.
Yeah, that was.
man.
I appreciated that.
I did too. Now, you know how I talk when we're watching the show. That, to me, was the best part of the show so far, the killing of the van. Because I had a problem with that van last week. I was like,
See, once she said the history of the van,
you fell for that.
and I'll tell you why.
Please tell me, you had a van like that growing up?
I don't have a van like that, but I have I my car, not the car that I drive every day, but I have my old car, which is my baby. Whoopi is the car's name. I've driven to every state in the mainland. It's got 261,000 miles on it.
Is it a Honda?
It's a Honda Civic.
Of course
yes.
it is.
And I have the VIN number tattooed on me.
No way.
I do. So I
That's cool.
understand. And it's like, she always showed up. She
Right.
didn't talk back. She listened. Like, that was my car. She's been everywhere with me. And when she started doing that, I was like, okay, I totally get it.
Yeah,
okay.
I
And maybe I'm
support
just as
that.
crazy as her. But I'm totally going to give her the van. But then, of course, like everything we see, it just kind of comes to an end and the van gets smushed. But I appreciate her being like, dude, it's totally not totaled. We can get this back together.
Right.
But we're going to see. And I think, too, I'm very curious to see, because clearly the van's not getting put back together.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what they because this car was such a piece of her,
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what kind of car they put her in next.
Well,
Yes.
well, it's a good thing that they let this car go so soon into the season, because like now, like none of us are emotionally attached to it, and
Right,
we've only
right.
seen her be slightly emotionally attached to it. So, again, to me, the killing of the van was the best part of both episodes so far. I think
Right.
I think it provided us the most authentic moments
who
between
she
cast
is.
members.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
That's cool.
All right, cool. Is there anything else? I know our wrap-ups are shorter for this show because it's only a half-an-hour show, but is there anything else that stood out for you guys before we go on to some predictions and wrap it up?
I think it's really funny. What does Judge Henderson have with he's the judge that's always like reprimanding her for all the bad things she
They
does.
have to be related.
I'm
or
trying to figure
something.
out what that is. I just want to know, because it's not just you're my coworker. Like, he's the only judge that gives a crap. So I need to figure out what his relationship is with her.
Well,
I think I'm
and
just interested in that.
I feel like he's almost not the boss, but like I don't know. Like there's I agree
But
with
the
you.
thing is,
There's
if he's the
definitely-
boss, she shouldn't be like, sorry, excuse me, walking out.
Yeah.
Like, it's different. It's a different.
Yeah.
It's bad judge or
That
not.
ju-
Like,
yeah.
that's the boss. So I don't feel like. I feel like they're almost on the same level, because he comes in and asks her stuff instead of tells her stuff. Like, he'll tell her and she'll make a joke and be done with it.
No, that's true.
So I'm still trying to figure out what.
But in the
is
same
his-
sense, he's like, why am I on my triple murder and I hear about you doing this? So like if you were like, you would never ask, like I would never say that to my coworker. I'd never be like, why am I over here
Right, and you're
doing
doing
this?
this.
and that?
Exactly.
So
True.
there's definitely a weird,
Some kind of superior
Yeah, I'm
relationship.
interested to see how that unfolds. But I
Yeah.
agree with you. There's
Yeah.
definitely something else going on in
Because
that
he's had
relationship.
such a small role, but when it happens, I'm like, what's he doing? Like, what's
Right.
up? And why is he? I'm just interested in him.
The thing that I'm most interested in is her shoe game this episode. She wore some really cute sneakers with a dress. I know that's kind of like fluff, but I was like, okay, Judge.
that's cute.
I
I think
like
there
your
were some
little.
cute Supras.
I mean, I was like, those are some cute little sneakers.
right.
I like it.
That wardrobe was
good.
definitely better than last episode.
It was,
yeah.
Even the little things she wore, like that she shouldn't have come. I thought
The
that
little
was actually
sheer
kind of
blue and white
obviously
type
she
thing.
shouldn't have wore it to court, but it was so cute for like a date.
Yeah.
Right.
But who knows when she'll go on that again?
Yeah. All right. Well, that about wraps up our show. Are there any predictions for next week? What do you think is going to happen?
I predict
And now,
that
your
she
AfterBuzz
is
TV.
going to try to find another equally bucket of a car so that she doesn't have to live up to the image that she's supposed to portray. So instead of going out and getting like a Porsche or like a brand new like BMW, I think she's going to try to like get another hoopty so that she can still stay low key and still stay under the radar and still have a car that matches her wrecked life.
I would die laughing if she gets a Porsche next episode. I would actually die. I'd
I
laugh
bet
so,
Prius.
I literally. That's a good one.
Prius.
Toyota's kind of basic. I feel like she wouldn't do a Toyota.
It's totally going to be
She
Prius.
would. Okay, I actually kind of like the Prius idea. Okay, so hoopty Prius. Maybe I'll throw a Porsche in there just to see.
Or
I
like-
just think it would be
yeah.
hilarious if she would totally switch it up on us and was like.
Because
"All
with the
right, I can
Prius,
do it."
it's going to be like, is this thing on? Like, there could be like funny. Maybe I'm totally wrong. All right, cool. Well, that wraps up our show for tonight. Where can the people find you guys?
You can find me on Twitter at Erica Renee D.
You guys can check me out on Twitter and Instagram at One Take Stace.
And you guys can find me on Instagram and Twitter at I am Stef Z with an F. Thank you
See
so
you
much for
guys.
listening and watching. Let us know your comments. Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz
you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.